Welcome to the video lecture on error function and the complementary error function. Okay, you know trigonometric functions, logarithmic function, exponential function, you know so many functions. Okay, what is the error function? Let us see now. Okay, if I ask you what is the value of sine 30, then most of the people they don't see at this carefully and answer it is 1/2. But I say how? It's wrong. You are having in the mind sine 30 degrees is equal to 1/2. But did I say here that it is degrees? Nothing. So if the units are not specified, it should be taken as radians. So if you type in calculator sine, and if the calculator is in the radians mode, it will not give you 1/2. If it is in degrees mode, it will be giving 1/2. Okay, back to the point. That's however a simple issue. Now if I ask you what is the value of error function of 2, ERF of 2, as you know sin of 30 degrees is 1/2. You know about this sin symbol. You ask this to a person who don't know about trigonometry, will that person answer what is sine of 30 degrees is 1/2? No. And if you don't know error function, you can't answer what is this. But now it is a advanced era. You don't know what is error function of 2. You do one thing, you go in Google and type error function at 2. Calculators are available for error function values. I'll show you now. Okay, you see here error function calculator is there. Here you see error function calculator. What I am doing now, it calculates actually the error function and the complementary error function. In today's class, in today's session, we are going to see how it is. This red line indicates the graph of error function and the blue line indicates the graph of complementary error function. Now what I'll do is I'll type just 2 here. Okay, and then I say execute this value. Now you see it is executed. How much it is? You see, when x is 2, the real number, it may be any real number between 0 to plus infinity and 0 to minus infinity. I mean to say it may be any real number on the real axis. Of course the left hand side is not shown because if you know how much it is, then by using the property of error function you can tell how much it is on the left hand side. Let us see all that things in this today's session. Now I change it to 3 for example, or 2.5. First of all, you see that for 2 the error function ERF, this one, okay, this, it was 0.99. now if I 0.9953, and if I take it as 2.5, and if I say execute, it should come bigger than that. Now you might have remembered that it was 995, whereas it is 0.999. So it is bigger than that. And if you go for a smaller value, for example, if you go for 0.5 only, 0.5, and if you say execute, you can see the error function value is just, okay, what happened? This cursor got, okay, fine, it's working now. Now you see the value. When x is 0.5, error function at x is 0.5204, this one. It is just 0.52. Whereas if you took it, if you take it at 1, okay, 1, then execute it and see that it is 0.84, and it is 1 minus this value is this value. Okay, the point is that if you add up these two values, you will get 1. This ERFC is nothing but complementary error function. This C for complementary. So now we are going to study in this session that error function and complementary error function. Now error function is defined in this way. Now you have to remember this particular thing. Okay, so better I'll write it on the board. Error function and the complementary error function. We'll switch to this. So what you understood now, that is, I have shown you error function at 0.5 is roughly 0.55, I believe, approximately. Error function at 1 was 0.84 something, and error function at 2 was 0.995, I believe, like that it was there. It is clearly indicating that when this x is increasing, this particular value is increasing. Then if it is going on increasing in that way, then some person may understand that if it is taken 100, it will cross 100 or it will be some very big number, but that is not the case. The thing is that error function, even at infinity, it is just 1. So you can see that there is a large difference here, but that much of difference you don't see here. For a difference of 0.5, you have a difference of 0.3 here roughly, whereas for a difference of 1 unit here, it is just 0.1 difference. So it's not growing that much. That is what you better look at this particular graph of the error function. You see in Wikipedia, I am talking about error function, and that error function is defined in this way. Okay, it is defined in this way, and this is the graph. So it's not clear. I will show this in another tab. Okay, where is that? It has gone. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, fine. If you look at this, you can see that when x is increasing here from 0 to infinity, then the value of the error function is increasing and approaching to this, and on the left hand side you see it is 1. What does it mean? Then it means that when x is coming very much nearer to infinity, then it is very much coming nearer to the line 1. I mean to say that first it goes very steep, it is like a coronavirus graph, and then finally it goes slow, means that virus is getting eliminated. So it is growing very fast and slowly then it grows. Then okay, let's come back. People are dying because of coronavirus, and if we laugh now, it is not good. Okay, we should have some pain over them. There are many people who are suffering on the roads, and we are very nicely sitting inside the home. We should have some concern over them. Whatever we can help, we have to help. Okay, back to the point. Right, now I have shown you, I hope some of you remember, error function at x is defined as 2 by square root of pi integral 0 to x e to the power of minus t square into dt. I hope at least some people will have a feeling that what is the use of learning this mathematics. Then one point is that some recruiters, they check also the subject somewhere, okay, because that persons also sometimes, most of the time, they will be engineers, so they will ask you, okay, to check their confidence, they'll means to check your confidence, they'll ask just, okay, do you know anything about error function? If you say that I can calculate in Google, they'll say, do you know? Because if you are able to calculate in Google what is the value of the error function, then somebody has written a program for that. So that somebody who has written a program should know what is that function. That function is nothing but this integral multiplied 2 by root pi times. So whatever input you give here, that input comes here, and this particular integral is depending on t, that is the t is the variable of integration. But once you simplify that and substitute the value of x and 0 as the upper and lower limits, the t disappears. That finally becomes a function of x. That function of x is error function of x, like this. And what it is going to give us, this particular integral value, when multiplied to this, what is this going to give us? Now let me talk about that. Okay, okay, so what it is going to give us, in other words, what are the applications of this particular error function? Then error function is used in partial differential equations, solutions of partial differential equations, and also it has a lot of applications in probability distributions and statistics. For example, because right now I assume that the students, those who are watching this, they are watching in the first year of their engineering, so they don't have probability distributions right now, and hence I don't want to go in much detail, but you know that this is the graph of, if some majors of mathematics are watching this, they can get back to this very easily, that this is the normal curve, standard normal curve. This particular point is 0, so 1, 2, 3 like this, slightly in this way. I'll refigure 1 here, 2 and 3 like this. The area in this shaded region from minus infinity to plus infinity will be equal to 1 unit. Complete area is 1 unit. So this complete area on the right hand side is only half unit. So this particular standard normal curve, that satisfying standard normal distribution or just a normal distribution, it will have mean equal to 0 and standard deviation equal to 1. If it is like this, then the area between -1 and +1, this particular shaded region area mesh, this particular mesh, this will be 68.26% of the complete area. So between 0 and 1 it will be 34.13%. That's okay. Now 68.26% of the area will be covered if the mean is 0, this mean is 0, and the standard deviation is 1 unit. So the area lying between -1 and +1 will be given as 68.26. But if the variance, okay, this is the standard deviation, sigma square, you can take it as the variance. When sigma is 1, sigma square is also 1. So if the variance is half, at that time this will be more compact. I mean to say, it will be like this. So majority of the area is covered in the beginning itself. So you are pressing it in this way. So if the variance is half, or the standard deviation is half, standard deviation is half, at that time between -1 and +1, this complete area is more than this one, because you are compressing it, a lot of variations are there within this one. I mean to say, the variation is less, so complete the random variable values will be packed, more packed here, and hence so the area between -1 and +1 is 68.26 in the case of standard normal curve with variance or standard deviation equal to 1. But if the mean is 0, I'll write it here. If the mean is 0 and standard deviation is equal to half, at that time the area between -1 and +1 is given by error function of 1. So error function of 1, I hope you remember, it was roughly 0.84 something, and whereas it is 68.26% means the total area between -1 and +1 is 0.6826, whereas it is 0.84 something. So it is more than this area. Now coming to the point, error function at 1 is going to become this particular area, but this area, if you know from probability, it is the probability that the random variable x, which is satisfying normal distribution with mean 0 and standard deviation half, the probability that the random variable will be between -1 and +1 is 84%. Okay, so if you have no idea about the probability distributions, I think it will be difficult for you. But right now, one thing you have to understand, that if you study this error function right now, when that particular probability distributions come and statistical discussions are there at that time, you can take the benefit. So right now you are learning error function. So what you need to remember is the first point, error function. Okay, at okay, this is the symbol. Okay, this is the notation ERF of x. Whatever x is there, that integral should be taken from 0 to x. What is coming here is 2 by root over pi, and the integration is done for e to the power of minus t square and dt. So this should be there in your mind. When you are integrating from 0 to x, the leftover part is from x to infinity. That is called as complementary error function. That c is written at the end, it is the notation. So CERF, that is nothing but complementary error function of x is the leftover part. So 2 by root pi, integral x to infinity. So actually you are having, okay fine, 0, x and infinity here. So from 0 to x you have integrated. Now you are integrating on the right hand side from x to infinity. Same function, e to the power of minus t square dt. Now this is the definition for complementary error function. This is error function. This ER for this E, this F for function. Now this is complementary error function. This mic is disturbing me. Okay, anyway, complementary be careful, it is not CLI, it is COMPLE, complementary, not that C, okay, with best complements, I will come in that one. Complementary error function. So the first step right now is you should at least have the idea of how error function is defined and how complementary error function is defined. They are defined in this way. They have applications. Tabular means calculators are available on the net. You can calculate what it is going to give. It is going to give, for example, I say error function at 2.5. Then error function at 2.5. Just remember the sentence. Once you know about probability, you will understand that error function at 2.5 is equal to probability that a random variable capital Y or X, we can take it, capital X, with mean 0 and standard deviation. I hope it is the variance or standard deviation. Let us check it in the Wikipedia. Variance, I am sorry, okay, it is variance, so not standard deviation, it is variance. Variance half. Now probability that a random variable X is satisfying normal distribution with mean 0 and variance half. Okay, with variance half, this particular 2.5 now, so lies between, I mean to say that random variable X lies between minus 2.5 and plus 2.5. If X is satisfying normal distribution, then X may be lying between minus infinity to plus infinity. What is the probability that it will lie between minus 2.5 and plus 2.5 under the assumption that the mean is 0 and variance is half? That complete probability is the value of that complete value of the probability is given by the error function at 2.5. I hope you understood this point. Okay, so now you need to remember very important, error function at X is 2 by root of pi integral t equal to 0 to x e to the power of minus t square into dt. This is the definition for the error function. Okay, it's not coming to x. Yeah, it's coming. Okay, fine. Now I'm checking whether this is appearing or not. Okay, fine. Now you know that error function, integral 0 to infinity e to the power of minus x square dx is root pi by 2. This can be derived easily using the gamma function. You already had that particular video, we already discussed in the video lecture on gamma functions. So this value, you remember that integral 0 to infinity e power minus x square dx is root pi by 2. Keep in mind this one. Now let us see what are the values of error functions at very simple values, that is at 0 and at infinity, because in between whatever is there will be some numerical values. You can calculate it from the calculator, but you don't need calculator for special values, that is 0 and that infinity. So error function at 0 is 2 by root pi integral 0 to 0, because whatever input is there that will become the upper limit. So it is 0 to 0 e power minus t square dt, because that limits the same, upper limit and lower limit gives the same result. Finally it is nothing but the area between that 0 to 0, nothing, no area, so it is 0. So now you have to remember one fact, that error function at 0 is 0. Now error function at infinity, error function at infinity, it is 1. Let's prove now. So what will be error function at infinity now? This is going to become infinity. So e to the power of minus t square dt. Just now I said that okay, this integral is nothing but root pi by 2. So this gets cancelled. Finally we get back to 1. So error function at infinity is 1. Now what is the relation between error function and complementary error function? You get a question, okay, prove that error function at x plus error function complementary at x is equal to 1. Sometimes they give in the examination, prove that complementary error function is equal to 1 minus error function of x. Anyway, that is one and the same question. Now let us prove this one now. So that is error function of x at x plus error function complementary at x, as per definition it is 2 by root pi integral 0 to infinity e to the power of minus t square dt plus, it is x, 2 by root pi integral x to infinity e to the power of minus t square into dt, that is equal to, this 2 by root pi is common, that is 0 to infinity. Okay, let me change the pen, it's not writing good. So e to the power of minus t square dt, 2 by root pi. Now 0 to x and x to infinity, that limits are combined as 0 to infinity, e power minus t square is same, but this particular result is nothing but error function at infinity. You see the format of this one. In the place of x, that x comes here, and in the place of infinity, I mean to say, if infinity is there here, that infinity appears, and hence error function at infinity is just now proved as 1, and therefore it is going to become 1. So where we started with this point. So we have established that error function at x plus error function complementary at x is equal to 1. Therefore complementary error function is, error function complementary at x is 1 minus error function at x. Now these properties will give so many other properties. Let us see that. Okay. Now the graph was going like this, you might have seen, and it is becoming small and small, it is 1. So when x is running from 0 to infinity, then the value of the error function is increasing very fast in the beginning but very slow in the ending. This is because you are having a normal graph like this. So up to here whatever area comes, if you increase 1 unit up to here, then this much of area is bigger, and after including one more unit the area is very small, and this particular area will be added, so the total area up to 3 will be a minor change. That is why it will grow very slowly afterwards. I hope you got this point. Back to the thing. Now comes the question, what is error function at minus 2 now? So this is the graph of the error function. It is graph of, okay, I'll write it here, graph of error function of x, means it is with respect to x-axis and y is taken as error function at x. So this is y-axis. Now the point is, if this graph is continued on the left hand side, as for example just now we have seen for 2 it was this height which is 0.84 I believe, right, 0.84 something or 0.99 something, you can check it in the calculator again. So it's very high graph here. Now at minus 2 what will be the value, whether it is positive or negative, how is the graph this side, that you have to know. For that purpose let us investigate in general what is error function at minus x. Now error function at minus x, let us prove that it is minus times of error function of x. If that is the case, then whatever value of the error function is at 2, the value of the error function at minus 2 will be negative of this one, so it will be minus 0.84 like this on the y-axis, minus 0.84. so the graph has to come like this now, roughly, okay, in this way. So you can see that the graph will be approaching to this minus 1. I mean to say the value of x goes to minus infinity, the value of error function goes to minus 1. So the value of the error function lies between minus 1 and plus 1. Back to the point, let us prove now that error function at minus x is minus times of error function at x. 26 minutes finished, okay. Now what is that I said, we will prove that error function, prove that, it's a question now, prove that error function at minus x is minus times of, okay, error function of x, or else I'll write like this, error function at this x. Now let's prove this one. So by definition error function at minus x is 2 by root pi integral 0 to minus x, because whatever input is there, that input we are going to write it here. So it is e to the power of minus t square into dt. Now it is integrated with respect to t. T is the variable of integration. Let us take a small substitution now. Okay, better I will change this so now. So this is 2 by root pi into, I am making the substitution, that substitution is this t is equal to minus u. I am taking t is just minus u. So dt will be minus du. Now what will be the limits now? These are the limits of t. So if t is 0, that 0 is minus u, so u is also 0. So the limit is u equal to 0. When t is minus x, minus gets cancelled, it will be x here. And e to the power of minus, okay, minus t is minus u, dt is minus t. Okay, fine. Now 2 by root pi integral 0 to minus of x, that is minus x is going to become how much? What is the upper limit of t? Upper limit of t is minus x. So minus x, if I write it, then minus gets cancelled, I'll be getting u. So it is not that, it is u. Next, e to the power of minus, the t square is t square minus u whole square, that is just minus u square, and this dt is minus du. That's equal to, this minus u comes, minus comes out, so minus of 2 by root pi integral 0 to u e to the power of minus u square du. Now you say that complete expression, this one is nothing but like error function at u. This is nothing but integral from 0 to u, u is the variable, du is appearing. So this complete is nothing but error function at, is it u or x? These are the limits of t. Now we have to find the limits of u. So minus x is equal to minus u, minus getting cancelled, u is equal to x. I am sorry. So this is x. Now when it is 0 to x, this variable name is not special. If it is t, that t square and dt. Because it is x here, so it is error function at x and minus is coming out, and hence we have proved that error function at, this is the LHS and this is right hand side, left hand side. Okay, so this is completely the right hand side. So we have proved that error function at minus x is nothing but minus of error function at x. It means that whatever value you got it here at a 2, that a similar value will come in negative way here. So the graph will be going like this. I hope you are clear about this. Now there are so many other properties between that error function and complementary error function that are very simple. The main fundamental base is only error function. I repeat, error function at x is equal to 2 by root pi integral 0 to infinity, okay, x e to the power of minus t square dt. You have to remember this forever. This is the definition for the error function, and instead of 0 to x, if it is from x to infinity, that is for a complementary error function. And if you add up the value of the complementary error function and the error function, as I said at the time of that calculator, error function calculator, if you add up that you will be getting equal to 1. And what is the what is the mathematical significance of this? It is going to measure the area. That area is nothing but the probability that the random variable lies between minus x to plus x. That error function of x gives that value. If 2 means minus 2 to plus 2, but that should be a random variable satisfying normal distribution with mean 0 and variance half. Standard normal distribution satisfies mean 0 and variance equal to 1 unit, but here it is half unit, so it is more compact. When it is more compact, the area will be higher. So let us see some more things about that. Okay, I'll enter into PDF now. Now this is what I said just now. Okay, we have finished this one, this error function, this error function. Okay, I'm sorry, it is going okay very rough. I'll make it full like this, also this side, so that it won't look bad. Now these two things I am making this much of bold coloring, because this you should never forget. Okay, now this is error function, complementary error function, and some of the properties are written. This already we have proved, and error function, this also we have proved. Actually it is a very standard book. It is Dr. Brias-Grewal book. I feel pity on this. This fellow has written, this proves that the total area under the normal or the Gaussian error function curve. Acha, error function curve, not Gaussian error curve. Okay, right, fine. Okay, I'm sorry, right. Otherwise, if error word is missing here, Gaussian function it is written, then it's not correct. Now back to the point. You see here, we are calculating, it's a very important question. Find the derivative of the error function at ax, that is 2a by root pi e to the power of minus a square x square. It has come in Usmania in 2003. Not only 2003, it has come several times. Now I'll write the question on the board, prove that. Oh, I'm sorry, I had to write the question now. Prove that d by dx of error function at ax is equal to 2a by root pi e to the power of minus a square x square. Okay, To prove this one, let us start with this LHS proof. D by dx of error function at ax is nothing but d by dx of this complete error function is nothing but 2 by root pi integral 0 to this input is ax, so I'll write it here ax, that is going to always become the upper limit, okay, e to the power of minus t square into dt. We have this one. Of course this is a constant, comes out, that's not a big problem, 2 by root pi. Now we are left over with d by dx of integral 0 to ax e to the power of minus t square dt. I assume that you know what is the difficulty here. To evaluate this definite integral, first of all we need to know what is the integral of the e to the power of minus t square, and we don't have that. It is not a closed form. What is a closed form function? All these things in the next lecture when we deal with power series method for solving differential equations, I will talk about that closed form solutions. So the integral of e to the power of minus t square is not a closed form function, and hence we cannot further continue, because once that is not known we will not be able to substitute the limits. So we are stuck up here at finding the derivative of this one. But it makes sense, this step makes sense, because when you integrate this one, I mean when the integration is performed with the limits 0 to x, then t will disappear and this ax and 0 will take the place, so finally it is going to become a function of x. Only that much is very clear. So when it is a function of x, that function of x okay, to save time I written something. Derivative of that error function of ax is nothing but d by dx of error function of ax. That error function of x is 2 by root pi, this one. This particular input has come as the upper limit. You know that that upper limit will be taken as the input function or input of that error function, of course. Now if you look at this, that constant 2 by root pi I have taken out, d by dx of this integral. Now here is the technical problem. If you are unable to find the integral of this function, then we cannot further continue, and it's difficult here. So what to do now? Then we have an alternate approach to handle this situation. So here first of all I will explain you that integration, differentiation under integral sign, so that you can directly use it here. Now let us talk about differentiation under integral sign. Under integral sign. Okay. First of all, try to understand when this is making sense, because after the integration is done and the limits are substituted, the t disappears and it becomes a function of x, and for that function of x we need the derivative with respect to x. It makes sense in that way, but we cannot continue in this way, means we cannot continue this order, first integration and then differentiation. So we can reverse the order, and that is nothing but differentiation under integral sign. So differentiation and integration, that particular sequence we are changing. So it is not that just you write this integral here and d by dx here. It's not so simple like that. Okay, let us see what is the rule to be applied. Now in what way it is looking in general, it's looking like 0 to some a of x to b of x, a of x, and this is some b of x, or alpha x to beta of x. I mean to say the limits of the integral are functions of x, and you have a function in terms of two variables t and x, and you are doing the integration with respect to t. Carefully see, this is a function of two variables, integration is done with respect to t, so t is replaced with the limits, and finally this is going to become a function of only x. So d by dx of this makes sense. Now what is this value? This value is obtained as like this. The proof of this you can find in some standard book. Okay, I'm just telling you how to remember this directly. That is equal to, this differentiation is done after integration. This is the requirement, but we reverse the order. That is, we send it inside, but we do partial differentiation because it's a function of two variables, but same variable is used here partially. So of f of t comma x, you do the same integration from alpha x to beta of x. You can write here some other name, a of x to b of x, some f of x to g of x. These are two functions of x, as 0 is alpha x here, and that beta of x is nothing but a into x, ax. So this particular partial differentiation is done and dt is done as it is. What is the meaning here? You have to differentiate partially and then again integrate with respect to t and substitute the limits. But this value is not going to match with this. If it is matching with that, it is just an interchange of integration and differentiation. This is partial differentiation and this is ordinary differentiation. So it's not going to match exactly the same. You have to add up two terms. That is, one is addition with plus and one is the subtraction. So that is nothing but the upper limit, whatever is there. So you have to find the derivative of this with respect to x. Finally, actually you have to remember one point, that final result should come as a function of x. Now how we get it, you see, it's only how to remember. I'm saying take the derivative of the upper limit and then multiply this with the value of the function at the upper. That x is there as it is. You are not changing x. I said that this result should come as a function of x. So x is x. That t I am replacing with beta of x. That is the upper limit. So what you are doing, this function value you are calculating at the upper limit with t value and multiplying with the derivative of the upper limit with respect to x. Then subtraction. It is like same upper limit substitution. Then removing the lower limit value like that at lower level. So d by dx of alpha of x into, you can guess it is x. Okay, is it appearing? Yes. So alpha of x. I hope you got the point. I'll repeat once again. There is a function of two variables. Integration is done with respect to t and t limits are substituted as alpha x and beta of x. Once that is done, it is going to become a function of x because t is gone. T is the variable of integration, upper limit and lower limit are substituted, t is gone. So this is a function of x only, and we are finding the ordinary derivative of that x with ordinary derivative with respect to x. This result is first sending this d by dx inside, becoming dou by dou x, means we are partially differentiating this function. Okay, one more bracket, sorry. So this complete is nothing but the partial derivative of this function with respect to x. Again that integration with the same variable, okay, as it is, same variable dt, but here upper limit minus lower limit. That way you remember derivatives will appear. For first derivative of the upper limit multiplied with the value of the function where t is replaced with the upper limit. Don't replace x with the beta of x, okay, because t will again remain. Remember like that. It is not the proof, okay, it is only the way of remembering. And then you are subtracting this one, that is derivative of this lower limit with respect to x multiplied with the function value where t is replaced with the lower limit. I hope you are clear about this. Now we are going to use this rule to calculate this one. So what I now do is, okay, I will write it here itself. I think I can write, yes I can write. So 2 by root over pi, root of pi. Now you see carefully, this d by dx of this one is exactly matching with this one. Just to try to make the comparisons carefully. Here alpha of x is 0, beta of x is nothing but ax. First what happens, that integral limits will follow as it is same. So it is going to become integral from 0 to ax. Okay, e to the power of minus t square, that is this function. It should be differentiated with respect to the other variable. Actually integration is with respect to t, so you have to differentiate with respect to x. Now if you differentiate with respect to x, this one you will get a 0 because it is purely in terms of t. When you differentiate with respect to x, it is 0. So it is dt as it is. This first term is done. Now you have to go for derivative of the upper limit with respect to x. So derivative of this is nothing but a simply. So we are at this step. Now we have to write for this one. What is that now? You have to calculate this function at t replaced with beta, that is the upper limit. So here the upper limit is how much? Upper limit is ax. So I have to substitute ax in the place of t. So this becomes integral 0 to, not integral, only value of the function. So e to the power of minus t is replaced as a x. So a square x square. Now next second term is d by dx of the lower limit. Because lower limit is 0, that comes 0. So the matter ends here. Better this bracket, okay. Now let us simplify this. That is 2 by root pi. This is gone. So what is remaining now? It is just this one. So it is 2a by root pi. This 2a by root pi e to the power of minus a square x square. So we have proved this one. It's a very important question. Okay. Now you can take the screenshot of this one. Okay, fine. So finally I would like to say that we have finished the concept of that error function, complementary error function, what are the properties of that functions, and I said what is the application of that one. So it is some good length discussion on error function and complementary error function. Interested people can see furthermore applications as and when they require it. Right now we can end up this session here with this one. So the point is the next video will be regarding solutions of differential equations in power series method. What is the requirement of looking at power series method when we know there are several methods? There are also numerical methods to solve the differential equations. What is the need of looking at power series method? That I will answer in the next session. Okay, thank you. Let's end up here.